The Judge Rotenberg Center is a special needs day and residential school located in Canton, Massachusetts, which accepts ages 5 to adult. They use behavior modification to control their residents, such as ABA, which is applied behavior analysis, but in some cases they also use extreme and torturous forms of punishment, such as prolonged restraint, food deprivation, and electric skin shock, also known as the graduated electronic decelerator. It is meant to cause severe pain, so don't confuse this with ECT, which is done for different reasons and also under like anesthesia, so the person doesn't feel the pain of the electricity. These behaviors can be as minor as standing up out of a chair without permission, or in my case, waving hands in front of the face, tensing parts of my body, talking without permission, or even crying. And I was there for 7 years. So today we're going to talk about Judge Rotenberg Center, and I will take any questions that you have. Feel free to ask them in the chat as we go through this. So right now, as I'm speaking to you, ADAPT is protesting in front of Dr. Gottlieb's residence. And they have a flyer here that says there's only one place in the U.S., one, that tortures people with disability every day and gets paid for it. And that is the Judge Rotenberg Center. And as I described the shocks earlier, they are very painful. I will show you a photo of me when I was there wearing the shocks so you can get an idea of what these electrodes look like. Right here. That is me in their reward center. You can see I'm wearing the backpack. Here we go. You have these large, very bulky electrodes that you have to wear, and that's only showing one. You can wear up to 5 of those, which I wore for a lot of the time there. You wear them on your stomach. You have one. You can see the wires coming out from the chair. You can see I have another one on my upper arm. I had them on my legs, and they're very bulky, and the shocks are extremely painful. There is a description here. A legislator who tried the shock device, he described it as unbearable, like I was being electrocuted. Now, JRC describes it as a little bee sting, which a bee sting is still very painful, but it's worse than a bee sting. It is, as I described it at one point, and I still stand by this, a stinging, ripping, and pulling pain that froze time. And that is absolutely how it feels. Have you ever accidentally stuck your finger too close to a socket or something and you get that shock? This is like all over your body, wherever you get shocked. So if it's in your arm, it will take over this whole part of your arm. And it will tense like this and just pull and yank and burn and rip at you right into your skin. And it feels like everything stops for that. It's 2 seconds, but it feels way longer because it is just meant to be painful. So these shocks are used on kids and adults with disabilities. Many of them nonverbal, they cannot speak. And JRC does not really, when I was there at least, I didn't really see them making an attempt to help nonverbal people speak, or taking into consideration the fact that they couldn't speak before shocking them for things. Like if they had a behavior because they had to go to the bathroom. So they got up out of their chair to head to the bathroom. And they would get shocked for getting out of their seat, even though they were just trying to go to the bathroom. And on top of that, you would get shocked for having an accident. If you go to the bathroom on yourself, just about everybody got shocked for that. So they're trying to avoid getting shocked for one thing, and they end up getting shocked for trying to do the right thing. You can't win. You can't win there. That's how I felt all the time. I also put some links down in the description if you would like to call the FDA, email the FDA director, or tweet at Dr. Scott Gottlieb about this issue. I have all links for there. I have links to the ADAPT website where you can help support them, and also links to my website where I go into detail about my experience there and what I went through, just some more that you can read through later on if you'd like. And also an article from Boston Magazine that I think is pretty accurate. I like how they went through things, so I put a link to that there. Okay. So ADAPT, I want to show a quick video of ADAPT protesting because I'm just so appreciative to you guys for what you're doing. And I'm going to show that now. I'm not sure if the audio will come through, so let me know if you can hear, please. I will appreciate it. Okay, I'm new to this. Here we go. Here's a little bit.
Protect our people now! Protect our people now!
They're out there. It's cold. Can you hear the video, Jessica? Can you hear them in the video? Oh, it hasn't got there yet. Okay. I am so appreciative to what they're doing. Can you hear the video? Okay, great. They've been out there, it's cold, and they're literally camping out there to stop this. And, I'm sure they're very uncomfortable and going out of their way to do this. And I just appreciate so much what you guys are doing. That's National Adapt. This is their website. Here is their website and some more pictures of from their time protesting. And I don't know, that's just Mike Oxford talking about the shocks. Advocates Roxanne and Philip on the first night of protests at JRC. They're leading chants. And it's just incredible, guys. Thank you so much for what you are doing. I also want to show you a video, and this is very graphic and upsetting. I'm not sure if the audio is going to come through, but it shows way back in, I think this happened in 2003. I was there for this. Andre McCollins was shocked on the board all day. He was on that board all day for about 7 hours getting shocked, which is a practice JRC used to use. They since have claimed that they have stopped doing this, but they actually thought this was okay and did it for years and got away with it. And I want to show you, first I'm going to go to a picture I drew so you can kind of get an idea and sense of. This is something I drew because, I don't have pictures or videos of what goes on there. So I decided to draw some pictures to try to illustrate what it's like to go through this. And this is a practice JRC used to use. I don't know if they still use it. They do things whatever they want, feels like. So don't know if they still do it or not. But this was one of their most torturous practices. I have nightmares about this. They used to, for certain behaviors, they would have in your program that you would get restrained to the 4-point board, which is 4-point restraints, ankles and wrists tied on your back, so you're in your most vulnerable position, as you can see. And they would actually shock you randomly, and it was supposed to be like you weren't supposed to know when it was coming. So the anticipation and the fear of knowing that a shock is coming somewhere on your body, you don't even know where it's going to hit you, and the purpose was to make you afraid and anticipate the shock. And they would do sometimes 5, 10, 15. Some clients would get like 20 or so in a certain amount of time. My program was that I would get 5 over, I think, 10-minute period. So I would be restrained for 10 minutes, and randomly during that 10 minutes, they would shock me somewhere on my body. They did this to Andre McCollins for over 7 hours. He was receiving shocks while tied to the board in a helmet that covered his face. I used to wear the same helmet. It has a mask that covers your face. And he was shocked for over 7 hours. I'm going to go to that video. It's very graphic, so if you'd like to skip this part, this would be a good time to mute it or look away or something. Okay. I don't know if you can hear the audio for this. My friend will let me know in a minute if the audio is coming through. But I will also go through this video. This was the actual footage from JRC's own cameras that was used in court when Andre's mother and Andre went to court about what happened. He was shocked, I want to say it's over 30 times during this 7 hours. You can hear the audio from the video.
The Judge Rotenberg Center in Canton has
so I'll just kind of let this play a little bit, and
the center
you can hear
the judge
the screams,
8 years ago to seal it, and the battle continued right up until it was played in court.
And this is what so many of us went through. Being on this board was
the judge said no.
The most
and now for the first time
terrifying.
ever, the public can see for itself what these
I don't even know
controversial
if Navy
electric
SEALs
shocks
could
look like
handle this.
in use.
How much torture it is. And they're doing this to disabled children and adults. That's the board. You can see he's restrained to it face down, wearing a helmet.
Restrained face down.
And here they go. They're wearing the devices on their
The Judge Rotenberg Center calls
they wear
it treatment.
On their hip. They wear the there. He just got shot. I think that's he just got shot right there. I can't hear the video. But you'll see him tense up.
As McCollum's attorney just described, the teenager was shot 31 times in all that day in 2002.
Over 7 hours.
McCollum's is suing the Canton-based center, calling it torture. Lawyers for the center and its clinicians say McCollum's needed aversive therapy because he was aggressive.
And I can attest to this. I'm going to click out now because I don't want to just keep going over that. But I think it's important to show the magnitude of torture.
It was an
And
emotional
it is
day
torture.
for McCollum's mother, Cheryl.
It was deemed torture
court
by
as
the
video
UN.
was played from the beginning
So
of
I
Andre's
feel
ordeal.
comfortable
He
calling
was
it
shocked
that
and restrained
because
after refusing to take off his coat.
It's torture. I mean, Navy SEALs are trained. That was him when he first got shocked for not taking off his coat. For not taking off his coat.
I never signed up for
Maybe
him
he
to
was
be
cold.
tortured,
He refused to take off his coat when told. And they say please, but it doesn't matter. It's a direction. It's not an option.
That they tortured the children in the school.
Thank you guys for watching, and I want to say Media National Adapt, thank you for all that you're doing. Sandra, thanks for being here. Top Shelf, Jay Blank, thanks guys. So yeah, the board was its own kind of torture, and I was thinking, you know, like these are the kind of things they're putting children and adults through, disabled children and adults. These things are things they do to, you know, that hardened criminals couldn't handle. And we're there going through this, and people are going through this right now every day, getting electric shocks to their skin for any undesired behaviors. I have some more drawings just to kind of illustrate how they do things. This was a drawing I made of when we used to go to the school every day. We would leave the house and they would make us line up, walk in a line. You always had to walk in a line, you know, like you're 5 years old in kindergarten, even though we were grown. And there'd be a staff at the front walking backwards. You see she's wearing all the devices on her hip that have all the controls for everyone's shock devices. And actually that's me in the back, because a lot of times I had to go in restraints on the bus, and I had to wear a helmet like Hannibal Lecter would have worn. It's a full helmet on your head. It has 2 locks in the back where it locks onto your head, and then there's a mask in the front where you can barely see where you're going. I couldn't wear my glasses at the same time, so it was hard to see. Plus your arms are in these restraints, your legs are in shackles, and there's another one around that goes under your legs that holds your arms down like this, like you're some kind of murderer, like you're a murderer being transported to the electric chair. I mean, I'm just like an average person. I'm just an average person who was born different and had some different behaviors. And this is how we were treated. And then they would ironically yell at you to walk appropriately when you're trying to walk in all these restraints and your vision is impaired and you're wearing a heavy backpack, weighed about 10 pounds, with batteries and the devices in there, wires all over your body going down your shirt, down your pant legs, and they would yell at me to walk appropriately. I couldn't even see where I was going. And if you would say, I'm trying to walk, or I'm trying, no talking now, no arguing with staff. And I just think about it now, how different my life is. People treat me, like a person and with respect, and how much better I'm doing. I'm doing so much. I was capable of so much, but this is how they kept me. And the clients there have so many abilities and things they can do that are positive and helpful, and they have intelligence, and they have just abilities to do amazing things, and they're being held back by JRC. But just besides the shops, just all that. I was forced to count popsicle sticks all day for my work for all those years. I had to put 12 in a bundle, put an elastic around it, and put it in a box. And I never even got paid. Supposedly I was getting paid a penny a bundle, or a penny and a half a bundle when we got a raise. This was for the Concord Food Company, by the way, for the candy apple kits that they have in the fall time. This is what we did. This piecework is what we did. We didn't get paid even minimum wage. We got paid per bundle, but they kind of just lumped everything together and then distributed the money across the board. So even if I did twice as much as the person next to me, I didn't get paid for twice as much work. They were just distributing evenly the amount of money that was being given to us. When I left, I never received a check, so I never got paid. So I worked for 7 years and never got paid. But companies were profiting off of our work. That's still going on there today. I haven't been there in several years, but I know they have a workshop for the adults, and they do piecework and stuff like that. Things may have changed. I can't claim they're still doing piecework and things like that, but that's how it was when I was there. That's how it was before I was there. So I'm assuming things are probably similar now. Okay, this was a picture I drew of how mundane the work was. This is when I was in the crisis room. They used to make me fold the same 5 towels over and over as work. And that's what I did. And that's what they have a lot of clients doing. They'll give them like a puzzle with those pieces that you put in, those little pegs, like a pegboard, and just have them put in the pegs in no sensical order either. They would just give it to them and walk away. Work on your task, please. And throw these random half missing the pieces, puzzles at different residents. And their job all day was to do it. Then they had to take it apart and then do it again. So this is the time when they had me folding towels, and there was 5 towels on the table. I had to fold them, and when I was finished, I was supposed to raise my hand and say, I finished my task, and they would say, good job finishing your task. Now do it again. They would take it apart, and they would tell you to do it again all day. And yet you're expected not to have any sort of behaviors. You're expected to sit there robotically and do this because your mind gets painfully bored. You feel like a non-person, and you're being forced to do this. It's not like you can refuse to do it, because you'll get in trouble if you refuse to do it. And I remember one point they even shocked me for putting the wrong amount of sticks in a bundle. I remember Rosa Ospina shocked me because they were yelling at me to work on my task. Not following directions to work on your task, work on your task. So I was trying to put the popsicle sticks in a bundle while they're giving me directions to bundle the popsicle sticks. Because if you don't follow the directions, you get shot for non-compliance. So they were giving me directions to bundle popsicle sticks for another company's profit. They were giving me directions to bundle these sticks. And they were giving me rapid fire directions to do it. So I was trying to hurry up and keep up with their directions. And one of the bundles ended up with 11 sticks. They counted it. They had a less than 11 sticks, and they shocked me. They shocked me for making a mistake, for not putting 12 sticks in the bundle while being given rapid fire directions to bundle popsicle sticks for another company's profit. This is what's going on inside there. This is the truth. This is the truth, and I'm letting people know the truth, what's going on inside there. Oh, they have these pictures. Oh, it's beautiful, and our residents have beautiful homes to live in, which is true. They have beautiful rooms and beautiful houses. Not that you ever get to enjoy them, because you're always at the school doing work or some kind of other thing at the school building, and they have these beautiful stairwells and abstract art everywhere, and they take people through it. Look at all these beautiful things that are going on. And this is what's really going on in the classrooms. When people do tours, of course they switch it up, fix everybody's clothes, make sure everybody's looking happy, doing these things. But this is the truth of what's going on behind the doors. This is the truth of what was going on when I was there, what I went through, that I can attest to. Another major issue and problem that goes on there is the lack of sleep that the residents get. I drew this picture to illustrate how it was to try to sleep there, because your light has to stay on. You have all these wires connected to your body and electrodes all over your body while you're laying in bed. And then the staff will stand right outside the door and in the hallways just talking and laughing, just having a good old time, making so much noise. They have alarms over your bed so that every time you move, the alarms will go off, and you'll hear the alarms all night from everybody's room. Every time they turn over or get up, alarms go off. It is very hard to get sleep there. Early on in my time there, I was trying to sleep with all these electrodes all over my body and pinching me, and I couldn't lay on my side because I was laying on wires and electrodes and plastic pieces and metal locks. And then the staff, I was one-to-one at the time, was standing right there next to my bed and just talking to someone as if I wasn't a human, as if there wasn't a human trying to get sleep, which every human needs. And I remember I said, please, I can't sleep. And they said, no talking now, no arguing with staff. And then they gave me a direction, ironically, to go to sleep. Now, following direction to go to sleep, go to sleep. And then they turned around and continued talking and laughing, and right next to my bed, literally standing 3 feet from my bed. Light was on, alarms going off, doors open, so I'm hearing all the noise going on outside the door. And I snapped. I lost it. I remember I just jumped out of bed and I hit my head on the wall. I hit my head on the window. It broke the wall. It broke the window. And I just snapped. A human can only take so much. And like the Navy SEALs are trained, they go through their sleep deprivation and all this because why do they put them through that? Because it's so hard. It's such a difficult thing to go through, that people go through training just to be able to handle situations like that. Men in the Army go through training just to handle those situations. And this is being done to developmentally disabled people on a regular basis, who have no training to endure this, who did not sign up for that. When you join the Army, you sign up to endure such things. This is people who are not, this is being done against our will. We did not, thank you, Angela, for commenting. People did not sign up for this. We did not give our consent. That's the word I'm searching for. We did not give our consent for this, and yet we were being put through it. I wrote a poem to kind of get across the feelings of what it was like and how someone might be feeling who's there. I'll read it to you. Somehow it's okay to hurt those who are a little more different. Somehow it's okay to hurt those who are a little less normal. Hurt them in the name of treatment, because their cries don't count the same. And if one can't speak to express it, they must not hurt, so they say. Their college papers, licensed to decide my fate. Their eyes as they watched me tense with the jolt, cold and still, studying my pain. Notes on the paper, just another day. We have plans for you, and there's no way out. Welcome to the cult of pain. When I arrived, I wasn't scared, but the air told me something different. It was heavy. Try as they made it paint it pretty. Music played, colors danced on the walls, but the air. All too soon, a new reality was upon me. Wires tracing my skin, snakes ready to bite at the push of a button. It's not okay to hurt yourself, and you will surely be punished. Do not speak and do not cry. Do not scream, you'll soon know why. Somehow it's okay to hurt those who are a little more different. Somehow it's easy to turn the other way. If one can't speak to express it, of course they still feel pain, and the sadness of knowing that that is okay. Doctors, judges, papers in hand, buttons and wires, backpacks and plans, shocks and screams begging to stop, crying no more and knowing it's not. Locks on your wrists, ankles and head. The mind wanting safety has already fled. Turn back around, do as they say. Follow their directions and you might be okay. Heart beating wild, sweat sneaking in. Wires just waiting to bite at your skin. Stomach in tangles, heart black and blue. Doctor, how would you feel for this to happen to you? Turn back around and look at the truth. For those a little more different, for those a little less normal, it's not okay, and it never was. I wrote that poem it talks about my time there. It talks about how I went there and everything looks so beautiful, and they tell you it's going to be great for you and a great place to be. But you can feel it in the air when you're there. You know, a lot of people with autism and developmental disabilities, we have extra empathy inside, and we can really feel things. And I could feel it. I could just feel something was different there. And even the state hospital, which is a terrible place to be, but this was a different feeling. And then they take you to court, and the doctors there, the psychologists, they watch you and they watch the things you do, and they write these plans, these treatment plans, and then take you to court. And the judge just stamps it, doesn't consider anything, and you're at their mercy after that. And there is no mercy. There's no mercy. I remember one time I was taking a shower, and it was a glass sliding door, and I bent over to get the shampoo. I had my eyes closed because the shampoo was in my hair, and I bumped into the shower door, so it rattled really loud. And I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't bang my head. I just bumped into the shower door. Well, the staff said, "Jen, what was that noise?" And I told them the truth. I said, "I bumped into the door. It was reaching for the shampoo." "Oh, okay." Like nothing happened. So I get out of the shower and everything's normal. I go to the school building, and then they came to me and said, "Did you bring your restraint bag today?" I said, "Yes." And this gave me a very scared feeling, because why would they ask me that? We had to carry our restraints in the bag. Everywhere I went, I had to carry my own restraints, by the way. Everybody did, unless if it was in your program, but everybody had a restraint bag. And then I guess the staff had called the school and told them that I banged my head. Even though they weren't in the bathroom, they didn't see what happened. And I was shocked on the board 5 times in 10 minutes for that. Just bumping into the shower door. They didn't care that it didn't happen, that because staff said so, they shocked me. So even if you didn't do something, you're liable to get in trouble for it. So it's not even the fear of when you do something and you know you've done something, you can get shocked for things you never did that they mistakenly say you did, or something that is perceived as something else, and you can get shocked. The devices can go off by themselves. What happened to me many, many times, in the double digits, the shocks will go off by themselves, and they so that your anxiety, the anxiety you feel all the time, and I think about that, the clients that are there for years and years and years, and the constant anxiety. I was always having heart palpitations, sweating, migraines, shaking, panic attacks when my stomach would get sick, because I was always anxious and on edge about the next time I'm going to get shocked. And this is what the clients are going through. This doesn't help. It doesn't help your behaviors. When I got out of there finally, I was no better. I had all the same problems. And it took me a few years to actually get better for real. But it was in a way where people treated me with respect and dignity. They took into consideration what was going on around me and helped me that way. And I was allowed to speak. I was allowed to say when something was wrong. I was allowed to talk about my feelings. I was allowed to express myself. And that way I got better. And now I'm doing really well. So, no thanks to the Judge Rotenberg Center. What I get from them is nightmares every night from my time there. Am I missing anything? Media National DAP, I know you guys are out there. Is there anything I'm missing that you'd like me to speak on? Let me know, because it's sometimes hard to remember everything at one time. What else can I say? Thank you to ADAPT for going through this. If you're just joining me, they are camping out in front of Dr. Scott Gottlieb's residence because the FDA, what was it, 2 years ago now, 3 years ago, finally wrote regulations. A bunch of advocates went to the FDA or wrote testimony speaking against the GED, graduated electronic decelerator or shock device, skin shock device. And the FDA concluded that it was a reasonable danger or unreasonable, something like that, and that it should be banned. But they never went through with it. They never put it into effect. So it's almost like, you know, they were kind of forced to say, okay, we think it should be banned, but then they never put it into effect. And I, you know, can only imagine what's going on behind the scenes for this not to be put into effect. And, you know, I think there's a little more going on there than just still working on it. And GRC has a lot of money and a lot of lawyers and a lot of influence. And so that's how they keep winning winning in court, to keep doing this, because it's legal in Massachusetts, but it's illegal in most other states. And their use of restraint as a punishment is illegal just about everywhere. But they have this loophole that I'm not versed in the legal side of it. You can find, though, many reports about it online if you look it up, and how they are able to continue doing this and how they're able to slide through the system and get by with it, and the loopholes that they're using to keep the shocks in practice. Because that's very important to know, because everyone says, well, they're outraged. Well, why isn't this banned? I mean, it's pretty universal. Everyone who's has nothing to do with JRC and not a vested interest in there is like, this is horrible. It should be banned. Yeah, and just about everybody agrees, but we can't get it to go through. So it's time, like ADAPT is doing, to stand up, to call and email and tweet your senators, the FDA, the president, And whatever you can do to share these videos, to share what ADAPT's doing on your websites or on Facebook. It's more than just sharing things. People know about this, but it just can't be pushed through. And I'm just hoping we can continue to talk about it and inform more people what's going on, because I think a lot of people they're just not aware of what's happening, because it only happens in this one place. And I would just like to get the word out there from the perspective of someone that's been there and that's gone through it. It's torture. It's painful. It is terrible pain. It is constant fear. It is constant forced work, forced labor. It is inhumane the way you're treated there. I have some other videos I've made where I've talked about different parts of me being there that you can also watch. And if you go to National ADAPT's website, they have a lot of information on there and on their Facebook page, so that you can learn more. And so I guess that's about it. I just wanted to talk to this, and I wanted to thank ADAPT so much for what you're doing. I know you must be very uncomfortable, and you're sacrificing so much for the people that are still there and for the people that were there that went through it. And it's not just me who is saying they suffered. A lot of people come to me privately, ex-residents, ex-students, which we were called. I don't know why. I was 25 years old when I got there. But they come to me on Facebook or on other ways, and they tell me how much they suffered, how they're still having nightmares, what they went through. And so they just haven't, come out maybe as publicly and talked about it. But it is not just me. A lot of people have passed there and have suffered. Either they don't, they just don't want to talk about it, they want to move on, or they talk about it to me privately. And also a lot of staff members have suffered from their time there. I don't really blame, you would think that all the staff members are evil and terrible, but no. A lot of them are very kind, and they really think that they're doing the right thing and helping people. And some of them get there, they go through training, they get there, and then they quit. They're like, oh no, this is horrible. They can't stomach it. Then others stay because they think they're actually helping people, and they think they're showing some kind of love somehow. And they're not these evil, all of them are not these evil people. Now, there are some staff who enjoy giving shocks, who relish in it, and I watched that, who get excited when a new client gets put on devices. Like if someone goes to court that day and they're like, so-and-so's getting put on the GD today, I can't wait, I'm so happy that now we'll be able to, control them, and they're not going to be able to do this and that anymore. And I remember listening to that, because the workshop I was in, a lot of the students were nonverbal, so the staff just talked freely amongst themselves, because they felt like, no one can say what they're saying, but they would forget that not all of us, some of us could speak, and I had very good hearing, and I overheard a lot of things staff would talk about there. Oh, they would talk about how a student is never, I remember this conversation between two staff, between a veteran staff and a training staff. He told him, he said, never trust a student. The students always lie. The students always manipulate and always follow their program no matter what. And I remember him telling him that, and just thinking, I'm a very honest person. And he was just telling him that we are all basically some sort of criminals, or some sort of people who are never to be trusted, never to be believed. a lot of people, when you have a medical complaint, they won't believe you unless you're like gushing blood visibly, where there's no denying that you're having a medical issue. I broke my thumb playing in the gym. I got hit with a ball and it hurt really bad, and I told the nurse and they gave me some Tylenol. After a few days, they pretty much warned me that I need to stop complaining because it's going to be medical complaints without foundation, which would break all of my contracts and put me on loss of privilege, LOP, where you're basically on you can't communicate, you're not allowed to have any social interactions, and you're not allowed to make phone calls to your family. You have to work all day and all evening. You don't get any break time. Just a bunch of consequences that are to make you miserable and very sad. I used to get very depressed and suicidal when I was on LOP. I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. I wasn't allowed to talk to my family. I had to earn that. They used my love of my family against me. I couldn't contact them unless I passed certain contracts. And when I would be able to talk to my mom on the phone, they censored what I could say. Like, I couldn't complain about my program or tell them about me getting shocked in my sleep, which happened. They shocked me in my sleep before. I couldn't tell her those things, or they would say, you need to change the subject or you're going to hang up the phone. So the communication was very limited. And getting back to what I was saying, I lost my train of thought. I was talking about loss of privilege and my medical complaints, and so I was complaining about my thumb, so I just stopped talking about it, and it was hurting me badly, but I said, I better stop talking about it. They're going to put this in my program. So 3 weeks later, 3 weeks I had a broken thumb. It was swollen and everything. You could see it. I went home on a home visit, and my mom took me to the doctor, who did an x-ray, and my thumb was broken the whole time. But they refused to acknowledge that. I saw one client, he was complaining about his stomach. He wasn't like very verbal. He would just repeat it. He would repeat a lot, but he could speak, and he kept saying, stomach, my stomach hurts, my stomach hurts. And he was saying that for days and days. They didn't take him to a hospital till it was too late. And he ended up having a colostomy bag. I remember that. And I was just thinking, would this have happened if they had listened? Everything good?
Oh, yeah.
This wouldn't have happened if maybe this wouldn't have happened to him, and he wouldn't be permanently injured if they had listened to him in the beginning. His desperate crying out that he was in pain. I don't know. I'm not the doctor, and I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what happened, but I remember him crying out in pain for days before he went to the doctor, and then coming back having had surgery and a colostomy bag. And he was still there when I left, and I fear that he's still there, and a lot of the other clients that were there would complain of pain and headaches and stomach aches, and they would say it was all behavioral, that they're just trying to get out of work all the time. That was the first consideration. The first consideration wasn't maybe this is a true complaint. It was that you're trying to get out of work, which is what they said about me when I complained about my thumb. Oh, you just don't want to bundle popsicle sticks. And then my case manager yelled at me when they found out my thumb was broken and got a call from my mom or the doctor. Why didn't I say something? Are you serious? You see, you can never be right there, and you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. There's no way to win. There's no way to be okay. There's no way to be okay at JRC if you're a resident. Now, if you are a resident and you think it was a good time there and you think they helped you, I'll accept that because you went through it. And I'll accept that. What I won't accept is family members, staff members, and third parties saying what is okay and what's been good for their family member, friend, guardian, person they are guardian of, or as a resident, residents there. I won't accept that because they haven't gone through it. I don't care if they've been there and observed things and think they know. You don't know unless you've been treated as a resident there. And when I say treated, I don't mean treated like treatment that you receive to get better. I mean the way you're treated when you're there. The way you're abused when you're there, because it's abuse. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, National Adapt, for your protest. Thank you for everyone who's commented and watched this, either live or on the replay. And I've left some links below. I might even add some more links afterwards as I find some more information that you can be helpful if you like to learn more about this subject. Thank you for watching, and good day to y'all. Okay, thank you. Bye.